Hello everyone, my name is Jose Leonardo Medina, and this presentation is about social justice and linguistic human rights in dual language programs. So, to start this presentation is very important the definition of dual lingual program. So, this is which promotes bilingualism and biculturalism. So this definition is going to define deeper through this presentation. Well, we are going to start with bilingual phobia, the definition and the history of this concept. Bilingual phobia is the excessive fear of bilingualism, biliteracy, and bilingual communities. For instance, in the United States was declared a law where speak other language than English was illegal because they thought that learning other language could put on hazard the culture and tradition of the nation. Important to add is, for example, teachers that had this profession to be bilingual. This law could them to have problems with the justice and policies, and also they could lose their jobs. Well, this is the assessment of bilingual or dual language programs. And it is important to know that there are challenges, first of all, which are poverty and democracy. But why those are challenges? Because those represent issues for educational equity. For example, the No Child Left Behind Act in 2001 covered those populations that didn't have an excellent socioeconomic level, and the policies that were imposed in that law pretend to achieve and improve the educational environments because every student have to be immersed in the same level of education. In contrast, this law in certain part was against because it was structured and traditional, and the focus was to achieve finally the standards tests. So it is very important the implementation of strategies that cover the needs of our students and show the approaches and methods appropriately to foster and benefit them. At the same time, it is responsibility for the teacher to go beyond and help those students who have low socioeconomic levels. Important to add, too, is that it's necessary the cultural and linguistic diversity. For instance, the No Child Left Behind Act didn't account with this, which is very mandatory or important because the students have to interact with environments that they force upon, in other words, their context. So the teacher have to be prepared to know all about diversity languages, ethnicity, religions, and social class backgrounds. And these make producing bilingual, bicultural, and biliteracy students. There are benefits of bilingualism and dual language programs. So, they are academic, cognitive, sociocultural, economic, and global. Academic, because students doesn't matter the social level that they have, their setting environment can improve and acquire both languages, A1 and A2, with proficiency. Cognitive, because achievement of cognitive and linguistic skills grammar, listening, speaking, writing, and reading. Sociocultural, because the communication with others expanded the world around them. Economic, because the person that knows more than two languages, it led him or her to the competence of the current world. Global, because it generates relationships with other countries, included to get an accordance politically. There are cognitive benefits of dual language programs. The better curriculum instruction, assessment, strategies. It promotes academic and cognitive benefits. According to Hakuta in 1986. And obviously bilingual skills. So the teaching and learning in bilingual program. This is important to make clear that the roles of the student and the teacher. According to Hetty, 2003, the main influence is the teacher. And according to Shepard, 2000, the learning involves three aspects: what and how they are to learn, and their level of expectation. So it's very important that the relationship between the teacher and the students and how they are immersed to know or to learn. For example, the traditional way to evaluate is initiate, respond, and evaluate, but it's necessary adjusting the language instruction for teaching, assessment, and learning, because in this case, assessment is in the middle, and it is not necessary the evaluation or assessment goes at the end. Additionally, there are strategies in bilingual classroom and comprehension strategies in dual language program. So, both of them, bilingual and dual language program, give strategies in their environments. So, the strategies in bilingual classroom are immersion in the text or context. They receive demonstrations. Time control is necessary. The time doesn't have interruptions. Teamwork and short activities. Different topic and interesting topics. It goes from the specific to general. Reading for meaning, literacy. They develop critical thinking. It's necessary the appropriate material and practice. And now, comprehension strategies in dual language programs. For instance, is natural speech, which is the sound of the voice, explanation, where they use simple sentence to explain a concept, frequent communication, verbal emphasis, expanding use of vocabulary instruction through learning logs. It is need to spend time in the development and understanding of vocabulary, words of definitions, assignments, personal goals and objectives, and summaries. The assessment of bilingual programs. In this case, we find several characteristics and features. Authentic assessment, authentic portfolio contents, instruction, context, because the classroom instruction is in real life settings, promote self-assessment, writing in L1 and L2, audio tapes, video tapes, and there are comments of the progress and show evidence of the progress, which we can find in the portfolio. So, there are key attributes, for example, flexibility, coordination, cultural validation, and shared vision. Also, in contrast, we can find common errors in assessing English language learners. Lack of time to the process, because it's very important to know how the student progress in the process. Multiple choice is not adequate. Many of the evaluations and assessments has immersed in multiple choice, but is not adequate. Look to prepare students for standardized tests, which it means that the principal focus is to evaluate or assessment them according to their cultural or their context. In contrast, it's necessary adjust the instruction appropriately. Well, as a conclusion, there are many advantages, strategies where we can implement bilingual programs and its benefits to our students. Doesn't matter the obstacles or challenges that we can find through the way, the laws that are imposed by government. So I consider that it's mandatory as teacher to go beyond and not to be superficial, recognizing that today we need bilingual or multilingual people to establish relationship with other countries because it develops a better world for us. So this curriculum proposal is effective. I consider that it is effective because it focuses on units that affected in a positive way the student issues. And this kind of curriculum is no subtractive, remedial program, compensatory program, superimposed or tradition, because this is a tool to help and foster our society. And I consider that this implementation in any kind of educational environment can build a nation or population or society in a good way. So thanks for watching, and this is the references.